Tifu giving away my game collection for a couple of football tickets. I decided to exchange my game collection for tickets to a match I've been dreaming about for years. Well, what if the games are lying around, and here's a real chance to see my favorite team live? At that moment, the deal seemed absolutely amazing. But of course, after the exchange, the match was cancelled, and I didn't even get my money back for the tickets. Now there are no games and no match. I think this is a lesson to me about checks and unforeseen risks. Traded my iPhone for an old bike. Thought it was a vintage, but it turned out to be junk. In the photo, the bike looked so stylish and unusual, just like a rare vintage exhibit. I convinced myself that exchanging it for my iPhone was justified, because I would finally take up cycling and enjoy riding. But as soon as I got my hands on it, I realized that it was just a pile of rusty metal that did not require repair, but most likely disposal. Beauty in the photo and reality are two different things. I will never fall for vintage again. I gave away my gaming console for a vintage instrument that turned out to be a fake. I've been wanting something like this for a long time to add some vintage charm to my interior. And then I had the opportunity to swap a console for a rare musical instrument. It seems that my wish list played a cruel joke on me. When I brought it home, I realized that it was just a dummy that didn't make a sound. It wasn't even real. The console was gone, and I was left with decor that could only be hung on the wall. I'll never be so spontaneous again. I traded an expensive longboard for a rare book, and it turned out to be a reprint. I love rare books, and I thought I had found a great trade. The longboard was nice, but I was willing to part with it for a real gem for my collection. The book looked very old, and I could already imagine how it would take its place on my shelf. Only later did I realize it was just a cheap reprint with no value. The longboard is gone, and the new book makes me more angry than happy. I should have checked it properly. I traded my headphones for a collection of figurines, and paid the price. I decided to trade in my expensive headphones for a collection of figurines that looked cool, and were definitely worth the money. In the photos, everything looked very convincing, and I could already imagine how they would take pride of place on the shelf. But as soon as I brought them home and looked at them closer, it became clear. These are just cheap fakes that are not even close to being worth the headphones I gave away. Looks like I got away with it. Traded my iPhone for a Swiss watch, which turned out to be Chinese. I thought I had found a good deal. An iPhone for a stylish Swiss watch? Perfect. The watch looked solid and impressive, and I was sure that I had made a great exchange. But the joy did not last long. A couple of days later, I realized that it was an ordinary Chinese copy, which was not worth even half the price of my iPhone. My lesson on the topic: not all that glitters is gold. I traded my vinyl collection for a rare sword that turned out to be a toy. As a collector's item fanatic, I decided to trade my small but dear to my heart vinyl collection for a rare sword that looked real and impressive. But once I got it home and looked closer, it became obvious. It was just a plastic toy made to look like a sword. Now I have no vinyls, no sword. Who would have thought that you could fail so stupidly? I traded a shelf of comics for an aquarium with fish. The fish didn't survive even a week. I've wanted to get an aquarium for a long time, and when the chance came to exchange a shelf of comics for an aquarium with live fish, I didn't even think twice. But a few days later, all the fish died, and now I just have an empty aquarium. Apparently, I just had to leave everything as is, both the comics and the hobby. I swapped my fitness tracker for a gym membership, but the gym closed. It seemed perfect. I traded a fitness tracker I wasn't using for a 6-month gym membership. I started working out, but a month later, the gym suddenly announced it was closing due to financial difficulties. Now the tracker is gone, and the gym is gone. It feels like I just threw it all away. I traded expensive headphones for an exotic python, and it ran away on the very first day. I decided it was time to get an exotic pet, and when they offered me a python for my headphones, I agreed. But the next day I discovered that the python had somehow escaped. The headphones are gone, and the python is gone too. Just a nervous wait for it to suddenly appear somewhere. I won't get involved in such adventures anymore. I exchanged an expensive camera for a place on a tourist trip. It turned out that it was a tent camping in the forest. I love traveling, and when they offered to exchange my camera for a place on an exclusive tour, I thought it was a chance to see the world and relax. But when I got there, I realized it was just a tent camp in the forest with minimal amenities and food on a get-it-yourself basis. The camera was gone, and I got the experience of surviving in nature. Only there was nothing to take pictures with. I traded my laptop for a vinyl collection, which turned out to be a DJ station kit. Vinyls always seemed cool, so when they offered to swap my old laptop for a vinyl collection, I immediately said yes. I thought I would add some style to my room, but it turned out to be a set with DJ equipment and tracks for mixing. Now, instead of a vintage corner, I have a bunch of equipment that I don't even know what to do with. Maybe someone would like to teach me how to DJ? I gave away expensive sneakers for a celebrity's autograph, which turned out to be on an ordinary printout. The sneakers were nice, but the autograph of my favorite actor seemed like a more valuable find. The description said the autograph was original, and I imagined it hanging on my wall. But when I received it, I realized it was just a copy printed on regular paper. There are no sneakers, and on the wall it's just a reminder to check the details first. I traded my comic book collection for a children's game console that was glitching every minute. The comics took up a lot of space, and when they offered to trade me the console, I thought it was a good chance to get some nostalgia back. However, when I brought the console home and turned it on, it started glitching terribly. The games froze every few minutes, and there was no joy in the memories. So the comics are gone, and the collection has returned not memories, but only disappointment. I exchanged a collection of model cars for a unique watch from Europe. But it didn't work. I've always been drawn to European things. So when I had the chance to exchange my model car collection for a unique European watch, I thought it was a sign. But when I picked it up, I realized the watch wasn't working. It turned out the mechanism was broken. And now it's just a decorative item, not serving its purpose at all. I'd be more interested in cars.